Welcome to the Startup Grind.
Okay.
I like your top.
So how are we going to roll with this tonight so that you all get the opportunity, because I know many of you have got burning questions. So I'm going to ask the questions initially, and Chef is going to answer her answer based on where she's at, and then we'll get a chance at the end for everyone else to ask questions. So how's that?
Yeah.
Excellent. So Chef, you tell me about you. Now, tell me about you now. Just tell me about how you are here, right, sitting right now.
Because you walked into my lounge room today.
Good answer.
A background on my life, maybe?
Yeah, we can go, yeah.
Is that easy?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yes.
If you're not embarrassed like we are.
No, not at all. I was born in Mooloolaba in northern New South Wales, and I was adopted to a family in Papua New Guinea. My mother was born in Wau in New Guinea, and they took me when I was about 3 months old to Papua New Guinea, where I grew up for 21 years of my life in nature. And I would never have looked like this, like nice combed hair and and washed. And in that 21 years of my life, I didn't attend school at all. It just didn't suit me. There was something about nature that drew me there. It was just one of those things. And Mum let me do that. Mum and Dad let me do that, so that was awesome. I grew up climbing coconut trees, growing food, mostly growing soil actually was my big one that I learnt. It's the foundation of our food, soil. So growing soil was the big one I learnt. And having the level of freedom to be around a culture 24/7. And whoever lives in Bali has staff, yeah? Nannies, staff, yeah. Well, I was raised with 2 nannies for 21 years and with a driver, and which is my extended family. So I grew up in that realm. I didn't grow up in the expat realm. So my connection with in my family in New Guinea, the Papua New Guineans, is very normal. It's very natural. I don't have to try. It's just that thing. And then came to Australia when I was 21, and then just knew that food was my thing. I didn't know what it was, and I couldn't put my finger on it because I was too busy drinking, getting drunk. And I just couldn't work out what it exactly was that drew me to food, and I couldn't see the wealth of it either. I couldn't see the leap between growing, preparing, cooking, and eating food to the financial leap. I couldn't see that. All I could see was, hey, this is what we do. And this was quite simple for me. So I kind of spent the last couple of years, and I had my child who's now turning 21, and his name is Jamin, and he's in Australia, and I spent that time with him growing food. So I didn't really kind of tap into restaurants. I didn't have that experience as a chef. I really surrounded myself in health retreats all around holistic doctors and around farmers. That was my big thing, was farming. So I had property, and I did a lot of farming for about 15 years, and also had businesses and everything like that. Then I came into the food realm again after having many different businesses and trying to work out the money trail and that value system between what we do passionately and our vision and our mission, and trying to work out how do I get up every morning and really love to work. And I figured it was being a chef, but I had to put myself strategically somewhere that fitted in with how I grew up in New Guinea. And it took me 3 months to find a place that would take me after I begged and begged and begged, and I said, I'd wash your dishes. And I ended up going up to this particular retreat and washing dishes because they wouldn't employ me as a chef. But I had that vision in mind, and I could see the quantum leap of the financial abundance that would come from the passion. I could see it. I could definitely see it, but I just needed to go somewhere that was in line with what I was doing. So my integrity and my values needed to be in line. They couldn't be out. I couldn't work at McDonald's, or I couldn't work at the local, Pizza Hut. I just couldn't do it. Or one of the fine dining restaurants or pubs or clubs or whatever it might be. I needed to be in a health retreat. So I put myself in Golden Door washing dishes, and then finally built my way up, and then went to Gwingana Lifestyle Retreat on the Gold Coast Hinterland and other health retreats, and just kept on powering away. And it was there where I really understood how food, and especially in the industry I'm in the wellness industry. It's the fastest growing industry on the planet. It's a multi-million-dollar industry. It's fast-paced. There is constantly a new superfood, a new ism coming out: vegetarianism, veganism, rawism. It's constant. It's constant. So I'm in this space, and I'm thinking, everyone, all the raw foodists are doing this, all the vegans are doing this, all the flesh eaters are doing this, all the diets, the paleo diet. Then you've got the calorie equation. Then you've got fat's good, fat's bad, low fat, low carb, high carb. It was just like doing my head in. But I could see the wealth around it. I could see the money around that. And I was like, oh, wow, that still's not sitting with my integrity and my values. So I need to strategically see the passion that I had to want that, once again, that leap. So I made the quantum leap and decided to open up my own place on the Gold Coast, which was mainly for people with allergies, diabetes, and cancer. That was my focus. Non-advertising. Didn't even speak a word of, telling people this is what I was doing. I just opened my doors and people came. It was very, very successful. Then I found myself coming to Bali for a week's work in 2011. I think it was, Roz. I can't remember. It was, hey. 2011 for a week's work. And I got off that plane and I got into that airport. And as soon as I put a foot off that plane, I knew I was home. Because I felt that sense of Papua New Guinea, that freedom, that feeling, that naturalness. And I just based myself here and back and forwards writing cookbooks in Australia for a brand called The Real Food Chef. And just did a little bit of training chefs here on the side when I needed a little bit of pocket money, and for my own benefit to feed myself. And mostly being a part of the food culture here, which is dying, actually, the dying food culture. That's a little bit.
Oh, thank you. So let's go back a little bit. So just so we can add a bit more into it, your restaurant that you had on the Gold Coast, is that Three Worlds?
Yes.
Yes. How did that work for you? So in relation to, how long did you have that for again?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
And what was the awesome things that came out of that, and what were the challenges that you experienced having it?
The awesome thing that came out of that was I ripped the car park out and I put a permaculture garden in and gave it to the Gold Coast as an opportunity to grow food. That was a big one, and no one had anywhere to park, and they got the shits. They were really angry, actually. And the second thing was I refused to do takeaway containers, straws, plastic, and anything. And that really stirred up a really angry core in people, because people were driving from Brisbane to the Gold Coast. And they rang me up and they go, hey, blah, blah, whoever answered the phone. And it'd be like, oh, we don't do takeaway. You have to bring your own container. And that was a really big thing. And my thing is what does the planet require from you? We can be entrepreneurs and we can make as much money as we can, which we do, but really, what does the planet require from us? And I wasn't coming from a hippie space, and I wasn't coming from an alternative space. I was coming from the foundations of how I grew up, a mindfulness about leaving work and coming to a cafe and just ordering takeaway like it's nothing. It's like here in this town, a straw goes in your drink. Like tonight, a straw went in my drink. There's no thought. So I had that.
Yeah.
And that was pretty full on. And no bottled drinks. I refused to have coloured, sugary, organic soda waters and lolly waters. I refused to do that as well. So I just made my own drinks.
So were there challenges in relation to, because obviously it was a business and you were in it for money as well as your passion, and that's very obvious to all of us that it's a burning passion for you with your food. Was there challenges in relation to the business? Like how many people did you have working for you? Were there any challenges around that area?
No. How I operate in a kitchen with chefs is I'm really different, I must say. I'm not saying that to float my own boat. I'm very different how I operate in the kitchen. No shoes, And we don't serve breakfast or lunch, we only serve dinner because I need my chefs and us to go surfing and get to our families so we can be of service to you, the community. Now, how that relates to creating income and profit was genius because it gave us more of an opportunity to be in our passion because we rested. And everyone said to me, you need to serve breakfast, you need to serve lunch. And we're like, no, sorry, can't do that. And we're only going to have 2 hours a day and 5 days a week. And they kept coming. We went from a 42-seater restaurant to a 75 to 150-seater restaurant in 3 months. Because, I mean, the food was good, yes, but there was a hunger there for they couldn't get enough. And that's when I really understood the way we are as consumers. If you tap in, and unconsciously I tapped into that. They just couldn't get enough of it. They couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
It was really strange. It's like, wow. They'd line up out the door down the street. And I would be like inundated with orders, and I'd just like be like throwing food on the pizza to make the pizza, and I'd be like, "No, stop! Everyone stop!" I'd come out with my microphone and go, "We're not serving right now. You all have to wait because we need a break." And I'd get the boys to jump a fire or whatever we had, and my son was always on dishes, and he was around, and then that would be like 5 or 7 minutes, and then we'd get back into our passion, and it made me really aware of how that operating system that we had as workers, as making money, as making a business. If we weren't creating, and when I do this, I'm doing the tummy thing because it's food. But when you're operating in a fast-paced environment, when you're getting slammed by orders, like you're getting slammed by orders, your mind goes to 2 things. Shit, the till's ticking over. Awesome, I can pay my bills, pay my staff, and I can take some money home. And the next thing is, oh God, I need to get this out really quickly, and I don't really give a shit how it goes out. So I had to stop that in my business. And it would have been 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, I would stop service and regroup and go, right, why are we doing this? What is the outcome we want? Our outcome for me and for my team was to create the most delicious, nutritious food on the planet and be better the next day. That was the outcome, constantly. That makes sense.
So how do you come? Yeah. How do you come from Papua New Guinea into that where you had people looking after you the whole time that you were there, to having that belief and that passion that you care so much about the people that are working with you? Because they're part of you, right? You know, you've created
there's no
this.
I in team.
Yeah, exactly. So where did that come from obviously your childhood to when you came back to Australia?
You know, it's funny because I'm looking after my girlfriend's daughter at the moment, and she's 2.5 years old, and Rochelle has this thing. She's a new mother. She's an entrepreneur. She's running a multi-million-dollar business. She works very, very hard, and she has 7 staff members. 2 are looking after a baby. She comes up to me and says, I'm a bad mother. I really need to be there for her. I should be putting her to bed. I should be driving her to Peekaboo. Meanwhile, she's running this business, right? She's you know, full on. She used to work for Roger Hamilton. Like, she's full on out there. And then she has this thing that shows up and shows up. So I rang my mum and I said, Mum, can you please tell me what it is that why Rochelle's feeling this way? And my mother said, being touched by many hands creates a type of human being. And I'm adopted. So we don't know what my family blood heritage is like. But by touched by many hands and loved, brings out a place of service, of abundance, and money comes. It's really bizarre. Mum said it to me, and I recorded it for Rochelle, and it was, yeah. So to answer you, what was your question again?
Where did it come from? Like, I mean, we sort of got that you were in Papua New Guinea, and now you had created this amazing business with these people that you just so cared for. And when you got to the stage when you went, enough, like, we're not serving right now, you'll have to wait, for you to have that care, you know, because I believe that your people are everything. If you look after the people that work with you, then you've got an amazing business.
So
and
how I like that?
Where did that come from? Because I mean, you've come from this where you were looked after, and then like you've just answered it basically by what you said, based around like Sienna, but it's phenomenal. I mean, how cool is that? You know, to be in that position where you have had nannies and you've been looked after, and to start up a business and be so caring for your
'Cause
people is phenomenal.
I was cared for
yeah,
so
yeah.
so gracefully and so beautifully, and that's, I don't know, Mum says, touched by many hands.
Yeah, well, we so often see people that have been cared for that don't go down that track. So.
Well, Mum says the opposite. She says all our friends, our expat friends in Thailand, Fiji, and New Guinea, and she's talking about at least 30 of her friends,
Yeah.
all have these children that are
Same.
like this, and all entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And all very, very strong business-driven people. I don't know. That's Mum's theory.
It's beautiful.
She's yeah.
Yeah, awesome theory. So for anyone who has little children out there, it's fine. So you sold your restaurant?
I sold it to my chef that I trained. Yes.
Yes. And how did you choose to come to Bali again?
I came here for a week's work with a gentleman called Tyler Tolman that I've been working for the last 5 years on and off. I contracted him. Yeah, and I travelled with him all around Australia. And he moved to Bali and he did his first retreat here. And he said, "Oh, chef, you need to come over for this one."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." So I came and then I didn't leave.
Yeah. And so you've been working with Tyler?
I've been working alongside Tyler, yeah.
Yeah.
for
So
many
tell
years.
us a little bit about that journey and, you know, what you've been doing with Tyler and what else you've been doing while you're here.
Tyler operates well, actually his wife operates a business called Conscious Lifestyler. And it's really about consciousness and entrepreneur as well. It's that balance between the two. Together we're better. That's the motto of the business. Together we're better. And within that business, he operates a juice fast, water fasting. He does coaching. What else? He has a couple of products online. And I come in and I facilitate your creativity in the kitchen to give you an idea of the disattachment we have with food and give you that journey and transformation to what nature requires from you. That's my kind of gig with him. Yeah.
So you've been doing other training with chefs over here?
Here on
Yep.
the side. It's kind of like a side gig when I'm mainly, you know, the yoga barn. Does everyone know the yoga
Yeah.
barn? So that's my family here in Bali is Meg and Kadek. And when I first came to Bali, they took me kind of on, and I trained 30 of the chefs there, and created a restaurant, the restaurant menu and the facilitation with creativity with a restaurant called Kubun. Not my food in the sense that that's not how I wouldn't use dairy particular things, but I came in there and changed a few things around and just gave them that. There's actually with the chefs here, there's a disattachment between what they learn and what we know. There's a gap there, so I come in and fill that gap. So yeah, that's kind of a side gig that I do. Yeah, that's fun.
You shared a story today that you were talking about how you work with the people that, you know, like your dishwasher, and can you share that?
Okay. So in a food business, in my opinion, it's just one opinion, it's a ranking of chefs. So we have exec, we have head, we have it goes down the line, and you get to the dish hand that washes the dishes. The most important person in my kitchen is the dish hand. The most fundamental core person is that person washing those dishes. And I take that person in, I ask them what their passion is, and they say, "My passion's actually knitting, I really love it." And I'm like, "Great, I'm going to send you on a course to do knitting while you're working for me." So I facilitate and gather up their passion and push them to that. And sometimes they don't want to leave, but their heart's knitting. They leave, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, but that's what I was saying, like when there's when you can relate to general business, you know, it doesn't matter what position it is.
Yeah.
It's how you treat your people that makes a massive difference. So so you do this, that's a bit of a sideline thing. You're doing a lot of work with Tyler and Rochelle. And also you still go back and you've still got your books that you've been writing, and so share a little bit more about that.
So I'm a co-author in a brand called The Real Food Chef with a holistic nutritionist and biochemist called Libby, who's a dear friend of mine. And we created this brand together. So we're both content creators for this particular brand. And we have 2 cookbooks out in New Zealand only, actually. That's a whole different story about why they chose that market. And I go back and forwards for media stuff and to be a part of that brand, to work on that brand.
Yeah. So how do you feel about doing that in relation to, obviously you love being in Bali and now this is your home, right?
Yep.
And Jamin, your son, is back in Australia.
Yep.
So how does it feel going from what you love and the environment you're in here to go back to do that? And
Beautiful, summer.
yeah,
All the same.
with the
hard,
media,
you know?
all the media.
Doesn't matter.
and-
Anything,
yeah.
nothing matters.
How amazing is this lady?
Doesn't matter. Australia's the greatest country in the world. Bali's the greatest country.
Yeah.
Our world is amazing.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. I've just been in Chicago for 4 weeks with Amish people. That's a whole story. Making cheese and stuff, and like growing food and making soil. And Julie asked me, "Don't you miss Bali?" And I'm like, "Not right now.
yeah,
I'm here. You know.
yeah.
That's how I operate."
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question is where else has it actually taken you in the world? What else have you done, you know, other than this?
I've done lots of things. I've had many businesses that have all been successful bar one. And what I mean successful is they paid the rent, they paid my lifestyle, they paid the wages, and I profited, you know, and I made money. But it's through, I have this thing, right, especially with entrepreneurs, I really get where I'm at now when I look back. I'm standing on a different ceiling, and I'll say this: the conditions will never be right. You've got to become the right condition. And for an entrepreneur, I actually don't even really like that word, to tell you the truth, because I don't understand really what that word means. But what I do understand is when someone said to me the other day, actually it was Clinton, he's really after structure. And I wanted to say to him the other day and tonight is, mate, the conditions will never be right. You've got to become the right condition. And 24/7 quality control of your thoughts in business is just so sustainable and so accessible. It really relates from that to that kitchen hand. 24. He is no different to me. Without him, I'm fucked. I am. He's going to wash the dishes. Without him, I don't know. My creativity, my craft, my gift to the world is now lacking because I have to go there. So I need to lift him up. So I need to create that environment, and the environment starts in my heart, in my core values, and passion and facilitation in that area is vital. And then when you ride that wave, and it doesn't matter what you do. It's like knitting, right? So I was going back to knitting. So what? He wants to knit.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's a cleaner. So what? Doesn't matter. She's passionate about cleaning. She's running a multi-million-dollar business in Australia. Passionate about cleaning. Great, awesome. But she always says to me, Cynthia, I never had a plan B. And I'm like, we all have a plan B, but it's B to become. B to become something greater. You know, someone said to me the other day, I'm going from great to good. Because I've been great and I've got the ego and I've got the books and I've had the TV show and I'm a great chef, but now I want to be good. It's like this different thing that you have going on. And I mentor a lot of people, and I talk to a lot of people opening businesses, like this beautiful lady here who contacted me a year ago. I think it was a year ago. I'm constantly in service. I'm becoming the right condition for all my dreams to come true in an operating system that I'm actually turning over the quality control of my thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I will make money. It's inevitable, because I will work bloody hard. I'll structure and put systems in place. I'm a star, create a profile. I get what the kitchen hand is, and I get how that runs through to the top. Yeah. I don't know. Sorry.
Oh, no, I love it. You were saying today that a lot of people contact you and they want to talk to you.
Yes.
And you say yes. You go back and say yes.
And my manager
Kittia
said,
obviously
no,
said,
stop saying that, yes.
Kittia went, okay.
She said, okay.
But many others, when you say yes, they do nothing.
They do not, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's no problem.
The part of that is it's all a journey, isn't it? And everyone's on their own, and the right people turn up at the right time.
Sure, you can look at it that way. With this one here, I mean, you might have got one thing out of that conversation, one thing. You might have got two things, but you know, like I could feel her over the phone that she was coming from a place of passion first, and then from there, anything is possible. Yeah. And I could see it, and I've been watching you very closely online, and I could see what she's doing. I could see her work. I can see her food. I look at the computer, like, I can taste it. I can taste that cake going, I wonder if she put I wonder if she put, you know, lime in that blueberry cheesecake because they would bring out the lime. I can see where she's that passion, but it's inevitable that she will be successful. Yes, she works bloody hard. It's the hospitality industry, but she's coming, her operating system.
Yeah.
That's the core thing, I believe, in the entrepreneurial isms. World.
Well, I tell you what, if that one thing that Kitty got came out today when she shared her journey and how she shares her passion the same as the way you describe it, it worked.
Yeah.
So did Jamin follow your footsteps? What's he doing with himself?
Oh, Jamin. Wow. When Jamin was here, inside me, I didn't want him to go to school, so I built a school. I built, I was two hands of a school on the Gold Coast called Silkwood, and it's a up and running major business which are building entrepreneurs. These children are becoming entrepreneurs. Fascinating. Please Google it, touch in to it. It's an incredible private education that's all on its own. It's quite incredible. So I built a school for my son, and he stayed with me till he was 7, and then he went to that school. And then food, there's one thing I said today, I think we were talking about food and kids, and children come up to you, and we always go up to children and go, what would you like for dinner?
Yeah.
What would you like for lunch? What do you feel like? No, and I was saying to you, I never did that. I always gave Jamin what served him, not what served me. So Jamin grew up naturally around the passion, around growing food, and everything like that. And he went to a Steiner school, then he went to a Quaker school, and then he went back to a Steiner school. And then at 16, he wanted to travel the world. And he came to me and he said, Cinthia, you would never let me travel. And I said, mate, you've never asked. And he said, can I go? And I said, sure. You can get out of grade 11 and you can go. I'll give you $150 a week and off you go. And he went to Bali and around Asia for 3.5 months. And I gave him $150 a week. But the thing was with Jamin is because he grew up under my wing, but most people with one child are very cuddly or something. Is that right? Like you kind of overcompensate. Oh, let this kid go. He just went. And he went anyway. He went around Asia and he came back with nits and a drug addict. It was awesome. And then I looked at him and I said to him, what do you want to do? And he goes, I said, do you want to go back to school? And he said, the world is my school. I never want to go inside a classroom again. I'm like, yes, $17,000 a year saved. Awesome. So he gamed for a year. He gamed for a year and smoked weed. Broke my heart, but you can't do anything about it. Then one day he got up, and he's very much like me, he's driven. He got up and he said, I'm going to join the army. I said, no, you're not. He said, yes, I am. I said, you're not joining the army. You never had television or guns or anything. You're not joining the army. And he joined the army. And he's a communication systems officer in the Australian Army, and he absolutely loves it.
Wow.
And he's an interesting kid because he would go out in the field for 2 weeks and he will survive while the others really struggle because he's had that foundation. And he's already looking at the future of his income, what he wants to do and where he's going to put his money. And he loves food, and he gets it. You know, when he talks to me, when he can, because at the moment he's testing equipment somewhere in some hotel room and he can't tell me what's going on. It's all secret squirrel stuff. It's hilarious. He goes to me, yeah, Mum, I'm eating my greens, I'm nourishing myself because that's the foundation, because it's nutrients that keep us alive.
Yeah.
And he will do his thing if he builds that cell nourishment, you know.
So he's taken it on. He's just not doing the same as you. That's awesome.
He's not doing but he's very strong-minded. He can see the outcome. He's a very interesting human being. He can see. I always say to people, if anything happened on the planet, I'd ring Jamin. The kid can grow soil, grow food, light a fire, take dirty water and make it clean. He's phenomenal. Yeah. I don't know.
Amazing. No, that's awesome.
He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. He's not a drug addict anymore, by the way.
Don't worry, I've experienced that with a child.
He goes, you had dreadlocks for years, Cinthia. I'm like, yeah, but you know.
You can get them again. Look at an expert there. So what's a day in the life of Chef like?
For me?
Yes. Of you, Chef, yes.
Service. It's service.
Yeah?
You asked me today who cooks at my house? I cook.
No, we asked who cleaned too. You were saying that as well.
Yeah, it's service.
Yeah.
It's constant service. Constantly seeing my business become, when I step away from the business, the ego, I can see the ripple effect that it can have.
Yeah.
Yeah. So service. Yeah.
Service. You fit right into Bali perfectly.
Yeah. Service.
Yes. So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Do you think
In
that's far ahead?
service.
In service.
I see myself
Yeah.
living on an island, Lusalambongan. Actually, is my or
Yeah.
Lusapenina, I'm not sure which one.
Yeah.
And creating food recipes. Yeah, I don't see any shift. I see growth in what I'm producing and how the money comes in. I see that, but I see more creating that right condition, more creating that the recipes and stuff,
And still doing the writing like you were, the books.
the books and that. Yeah, for sure. I think books are awesome. I think cookbooks are great. Lots of TV, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've got opportunities this year to do quite a bit of stuff. Depends what they're like and how they operate as well. I don't just dive into anything for the money. It's just how I am. It's got to be right. It's got to sit with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just lots of opportunities. It's just amazing actually. But I definitely see myself producing out of a really amazing kitchen. On Lusalambongan, creating
Awesome.
more recipes for housewives.
Yeah.
My big thing is housewives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And house husbands and people with cancer and diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you've been doing, obviously, and moving into the future, you've obviously had people support you. Like, I mean, you've got a website, and do you outsource things, or how do you actually bring the right people together to support you from where you're at now, from how you've got there to even going into the future? How does that work?
Well, I surround myself with forward thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
My team at the moment, I'm under a management team called Star Management here in Bali.
Mm-hmm.
And she's, like I said, we used to work for Roger Hamilton, and she has this amazing ability to see a marketplace, and she has a massive team underneath her that specialise in online presence. Is that right, John? Online presence? And how and that particular team are constantly doing professional development on themselves. That's the big thing with business, I believe. It was like going back to the kitchen hand. I can see, and building the school as well. I remember the teachers in the school. If we didn't nourish their gift, what they love to do, we were in a really bad space. But if we gave them mandatory professional development throughout a 12-month period, they were in a better operating system. They were more child-centered education. That's what I noticed, and it's the same with the team here. Is that they really spend their money on more professional development, more courses, more this, more that, and they keep driving their business, especially online. Yeah, it's really interesting to watch because it's not my area.
Yeah.
My area is, and that's not being ignorant as well. I get what's required for me, but I also allow that person to shine in their space. And if I can lift them up in any way, I will. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. That was beautiful. So we'll open it up to questions in a moment, but before we do, if you could just share a couple of gems that you could say to make a difference. Obviously, these guys here are in a 2-week iLab at the moment, and we're in the middle right now, so they've got another week to go. The middle, it's the first weekend. We're in the middle.
You want to get drunk?
We've had a week. I don't know. I think they're going, we can sleep finally. It's been long days. Amazing, amazing days, but very long. What are some things that you could share, a couple of things that are gems that you think could make a difference to where they're at now? Because some of them are starting off, and some of them already got businesses. Yeah. Some have come here with the view of, I'm going to find my passion. Like, I know what I want, but I'm going to create something out of that. So this is going to bring that journey forward. And others have already got businesses that are existing, and they're looking for that little next step.
Next step into what though?
Exactly, that's a really good question. So they'll probably ask you some questions around that. So, on the entrepreneurial journey, because this is what these guys are on.
Explain to me what an entrepreneur is to you.
That's a really good question.
I don't get it, because everyone's different, right? What does it mean to you?
That is a really good question.
I don't understand.
Yeah. I think it's just someone that, from my perspective, and I'll let you actually,
I was going to say that I think it's somebody.
microphone. Sorry, the master.
Hi, my name's Tracy
Hi,
Cinthia.
Tracy.
Hello. For me, the entrepreneurial journey is learning how to create something, a lifestyle and a business and a life from nothing, so that I'm never reliant on somebody to give me a job again in the future, that I always know that these skills, no matter what I do, and, you know, that I'll be able to see opportunities and I'll know what to do to turn that opportunity into something bigger than myself.
So becoming self-employed, but more than that.
Well, not even self-employed. It's really more about, I can only describe it as learning to build something from nothing. It's, you know, that I am the seed, if you like, and that the journey becomes
But is
how
it
to
ever
build
nothing,
something
though?
greater.
That's the thing. Is it ever nothing?
Well, it's all. It could start with an idea, or
exactly.
but I guess the difference for me is it's not somebody else's idea or
it's always
somebody else's
It's always
passion.
someone else's idea.
Oh, go on, tell me.
It's like food. I'm not creating anything new. We're not creating anything new.
Yeah.
You know, I think that, like, for me in business, like I said, the conditions will never be right. They will never be right. You've got to become the right condition. And 24/7 quality control of your thoughts. Doubt, lack, loss, worry, that's bullshit. That's what holds us back to being the greatest that we can be. And I truly believe that. So I'm in business, I'm operating, and all of a sudden something comes in. What if the customer doesn't walk in? This cloud comes over me. What if the fridge breaks down in the middle of the night? That's what stops me from being great. It's a real issue, though. What if the customers don't come in? And what if my fridge does break? Well, I've got systems, procedures in place. I have a management team in place. I have time management of things. I have a cool room that connects up to an alarm system that rings my phone. You know, I've got a marketing team marketing my person that's walking through the front door. So I park myself. I'm talking about me. I park myself there then in that, what if, what should I create? What is it? I park myself, over here, if that makes any sense.
I love that.
Yeah. 24/7. Yeah, and when I mean that, I'm saying to you from a woman to a woman that it's a real issue, the customer not walking in. I'm not going to be some hippie sitting here going, oh, the universe will provide. That's bullshit. There's a level of intelligence, yes, I get that. But there's also a level of vibration that if I operate this way, I'm better at my gig. And that is preparing, cooking, and eating food. Do you get it?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Thank you so
You're welcome.
much.
So therefore, it's what if I'm to say what I think an entrepreneur is having a passion and being able to create some greatness that people want. Because like you said, if you think about it, there's nothing new. There's nothing new out there. There's plenty of chefs. How many millions of chefs out in the world? There's plenty of food. There's
Everybody's thinking I'm creating the chocolate cake. I'm actually not. I'm recreating an idea.
Yeah. So is that what it is? You know, is passion enough?
I think passion is what keeps us alive. I reckon you could eat McDonald's and drink Coca-Cola for the rest of your life as long as you're passionate. Actually, that is something. I had cancer, and this is very private, and I know it's being recorded, but I don't tell very many people this. But if you can relate to this, my operating system was fine. I was eating organic, biodynamic food. I was working in my passion. Why did I get cancer? My operating system, the doubt, lack, loss, worry, vibrated to me. And I truly believe that. So once I got rid of the cancer through water fasting, whatever I did, and it's gone, then I had to work on the belief system. Can I make money in an industry that's swamped with free recipes online? Swamped, holy shit. You know? Can I actually become the financial abundance and security and when you go Google raw cheesecake, bam, there's a recipe. Mate, absolutely I can, because I'm coming from a space of no lack, no loss, and no worry. And that's what builds my financial table. But it's an operating system, and it's constant grabbing those negative thoughts, constantly, 24/7, holy shit, you know. It's work, it's constant work. Hello.
Hi, my name's Garrett
Hey, Jared.
from San Francisco. Thanks for sharing your story, Cynthia. I am going to be joining a venture capital firm where I'll be working with entrepreneurs to build great companies, hopefully. And one of the requirements for my job is to return money back to my investors. So I wanted to have you focus on that kind of point where you kind of quickly passed over, you sold your business to your chef. Can you dive into that and tell us what went through your mind at that phase and what led up to that?
Okay, so when he became my apprentice, the first thing I said to him was, you have to be better than me. Fact. That's the contract. If you cannot be better than me, this is not your gig. So you need to make the beetroot chocolate mud cake, and it needs to be better than mine. And from there, this kid from 18 to 20 something grew into an incredible, incredible craftsman. So the point where this restaurant was now getting so big and I was going into the realm of writing cookbooks and doing some media stuff, I looked at him and said, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to be better than you. I said, awesome. Here, take it. You know, that's great, awesome. And I felt that was a great thing to watch him constantly push himself and grow, when really us chefs aren't like that. Does that answer your question, maybe? Yeah. Absolutely. You know, I handed it over with my recipes. I said, here, I'm bizarre, okay? I get this. My restaurant operated like this. You came in, you sat down, you stood up, you placed your order, because we didn't do table service, because I can't be bothered with that. You come and order. I know. You came and sat down at a table, you ate your meal, you were like, holy shit, this is beautiful.
We played dominoes or something first.
Clearly. That's right. You ate the meal with your beautiful wife and you loved it. And you said to the waitress, Phoebe, you said, that was really great. She would come and get me. I would come out, I'd write the recipe on the wall for you. I'd say, dear Jared, 1 cup of carrots, 1 cup of spice, please make that. And come back to me when you've made that and tell me that you've made it better. Because the more I gave, givers, see, this is the thing. Leaders give, givers get. Fact. I lead and I give. All my chef mates said to me, stop doing that because you'll never make any money. Look at the internet. Everything's for free. Everything's for free. Porn's for free. No, it is, right? Recipes are for free. So I came from that space. So it was, I'm different. But the more I gave, the more I led, and the more I gave, the more I got. Just happened, just works that way.
So is there a good sex food? No, I'm just joking.
Is that okay? Yeah. So leaders give, givers get. It's a nice one. Together we're better. Together we are better. Me and the kitchen hand. Together we're better. There's a massive motto on my fridge at work. You know, what does the planet require from you? What, we're all diving in. We're all working really, 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 really hard to make lots and lots of money to get here so we can be happy. Bullshit. The conditions will never be right. You've got to become the right condition. And that's what was my big thing in business was.
Just a quick data point, how long from when you started to when you sold?
2.5 years. Yeah. I had business partners as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a good
Who's
restaurant,
next?
that one.
Who else has got a
You would have
question?
liked it.
Dirk.
You would have loved it.
So hello, my name is Dirk from Germany. I'm a lawyer.
You're what's
a lawyer. I'm
wow.
operating in Jakarta for foreign direct investment coming from Europe.
You're smart.
But that's hopefully not my future, at least not the whole of it. I heard that you never went to school.
Never went to school.
So I would be interested, was that an obstacle, or was it maybe even supporting your way? Or was it because of that you got the final push into doing what you really wanted? Because you didn't really have, you didn't have to show anybody any papers.
Yeah. You know, no one has ever seen my chef papers, by the way. This whole thing about getting certified is bullshit, in my opinion. Maybe a lawyer's a bit different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No one has ever asked for my papers, and it annoys me because I got paid $6.50 an hour for 3 years, mate. Oh, what? You just asked for my papers. It's crazy. Not going to school and not being able to spell, which I struggle with. And when I write a post on my multimedia, I have people write to me saying, first impressions is you suck. And I'm not going to follow you because you wrote here, H-E-R-E, and it's supposed to be H-E-A-R. I get it all the time. It's very confronting.
So if you could change a little bit about your past in that respect, would you?
No.
Okay.
Never. I can climb a coconut tree. You know, I might not be able to. I can grow soil. I can cut a pig up, and the stuff I can do blows my mind. I don't eat animal flesh, but I can do that. The point is that it was such a block for me for so many years, and I believe that's the cancer. Once again, the lack, loss, worry. I'm writing a check. I can't spell $35. I can't spell 35. So I have all these strategic ways that I have to spell it. Oh, what was that amount again? Sorry, I'd have all these ways. It was very stressful, but I wouldn't change a thing because I'm the person I am today because of it. But the certification of being a chef is my girlfriend, back to that school, my girlfriend and I started that school. We were 2 hands out of about 10 people building the school, and she's the facilitator of the school. She has no qualifications whatsoever. She's a passionate entrepreneur. She's building the next generation of entrepreneurs. The grade 9 classroom has a board meeting table and chairs, and these kids are doing their homework to come in to actually express themselves. So in my opinion, I don't know, papers, certification, no one's ever asked me for anything. Crazy, eh? Yeah.
Hi, Cinthia. Chris O'Hora. I own a camel farm. Every day's I own a camel farm. Every day's hump day for me, so it's all good.
Yeah. Very cool.
What do you do with the camels? Are they?
We do everything from camels, but I'm sitting here just nodding my head and listening to your journey. I've been a dish pig in my own cafe. I'm also making award-winning scones and giving away the recipe. And servicing. My daughter's an executive chef who wants to go on now, similar to what you do, educate and train.
I'd love to meet her.
We'd like to organise that. But part of my journey is taking what the camel is and into something much bigger and better. And camel milk is the new ism. It's good for diabetes and psoriasis, multiple sclerosis. So I'll give you some camel milk before you leave. I actually brought some with me here as well, and maybe I could catch up with Gary. We're looking for some investment capital, so I'm blatantly pushing my barrow here. And it is. It's a beautiful raw product. The camel milk is only the market that we've got is a raw camel milk, and it's $25 a litre, and we can't get enough of it. So we're trying to build and expand our business on the camel milk side, and that's the health and well-being thing. But I really am excited to hear your journey and hear your story, and I nod and connect with so many different parts of it, and education of kids and growing up and allowing your children the opportunity to grow up and leave the nest and be their own person. And as a parent, looking back and going, well, that's my son, that's my daughter. And thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to hear your story. And the passion that comes from your connection, there's not a script, it's you, it's your life. And it's so brilliant to have that and share that with you. Thank you.
That's really kind. Thank you. So, how do you milk a camel?
One tit at a time.
How many tits do they have?
4.
You're joking. So they calve and then you milk.
Yeah, and the scary thing about a camel, she won't give milk unless the calf asks for it. So we've got
You might give milk.
if you take the calf away, she'll stop supplying milk. She'll only let the milk down as a reward for the calf asking for it. So in that process, there's a little trick about it. And it's not, it's an industry where you were saying, I was listening about systems and procedures and all that. There's a certain procedure to get, I should say, a woman to give up something that she nourishes.
So do you keep that camel in pregnancy its whole life?
No, we keep the camel in calf with the calf.
Yeah.
So she's 14 months pregnant.
Yeah.
She drops the calf.
Yeah.
We give the calf the first 6 to 8 weeks of nutrition.
Yeah.
Gives it its start in
And
life.
how long is it supposed to have in nature? How long is the calf supposed to actually have that milk in nature?
Oh, the
without-
calves actually at around about the 8 to 10 weeks start to take on solid food.
Yeah.
But that cow will continue to milk for that calf for 2 to 3 years. Now, as long as we have a calf on board, she's quite happy to feed. So we just ask her if she'll share that. And in that part of the milking process, we have a
So it's not like the
symbiosis.
dairy industry,
No, it's not like the
where you
dairy.
milk the cow its whole life till it dies.
No, our girls are much more union oriented than that.
If that's the case, you've got a really, really unique product.
She does have a unique product, and it's
In the
well,
marketplace. Like,
she's got the product. She's just allowing me to share it.
Yeah, but you as a business, you have a really unique situation here because the dairy industry is so retarded and so barbaric. It really is. It's absolutely barbaric. And I'm just curious whether you're in nature, does the calf, is it? Is that what you
Yeah,
call
we
the
call
calf?
them, they're just cows and bulls and
Calf
calves.
actually separates from the mother at a certain age and then goes and because a cow doesn't, it's the opposite with a cow. They'll keep drinking till, quite a while.
Yeah, and it's that nature and nurture, and in her case, she's nurturing her offspring. And if you take her offspring away, she goes, well, I don't need to
So you
supply that
can't force
lactation.
milk it like the dairy industry.
No, we haven't. No, I don't want to do that.
That's awesome.
And force milking it. Yes, we do have to consider what our market is,
Yeah.
but I don't think our market is the existing dairy
Yeah.
model.
That's awesome.
That just sucks.
That should be on your packet too, the story.
I'm going to have to get a bigger container, aren't I?
How much a litre do you sell it for?
$25 a litre at present.
You're joking.
And it's we only sell it raw, and a little like you.
Does it separate? Does the fat come to the top?
That's a very, very light fat. It has a very heavy cream, but very little of it.
Is it yellow or is it
No,
white?
look, don't go home.
Sorry.
I'm going to bring you some and give you an opportunity to try it.
Sorry.
So, it's lactose free. It rebuilds your immune system.
It doesn't have the casein, doesn't have the protein.
No, yeah, bugger to make cheese with because it doesn't have the casein in it. Makes good kefir, which is a probiotic. Good for diabetes, good for autism, good for multiple sclerosis.
Autism, that's a big thing that I work in as well.
A lot of our mums have come back to the farm in tears, identifying the fact that a week on camel milk has changed the way their children interact with them.
Absolutely.
And for mums with kids with a symptom of autism, to have that, they're just over the moon.
I know.
And look, I'm not much of an entrepreneur. I would give that to mum because it makes a difference in her life.
Absolutely. That's lovely. Wow, you're milking camels. That's
I was a bit concerned bringing it in customs. I bought through customs. I bought 4 litres, and I didn't want them to take it away
Can I
from me.
try it? Do you have some here?
I've got some for you. It's down in when we finished our interviews, I'd like to exchange cards and give you a chance to try some. Would that be okay?
That'd be great.
Okay.
All manners of things going on in my head right now.
All right, who else? Who else has a question, a burning question that would, Kevin?
Hi, Cynthia. My name's Kevin from Melbourne, Australia.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, fascinating story. I was really interested in what you said about the restaurant. That when you're running the restaurant, you only served in the evenings and so on. I go to George Calambaris's restaurant, and I know George. I know his head chef there, who I saw the other day. I hadn't seen him for a couple of months.
Is this in Australia?
Yeah, in Australia.
In Melbourne?
Yeah, in Melbourne. Yeah, and boy, he looked unwell. I wanted him to go on a holiday, because he's just working extraordinary hours. So I guess my question is about your the daily, the life, the day in the life, if you like, of the lifestyle you're living and how you get that balance, between energetic output and your personal wellness and so on.
I think it comes from my father. He's definitely an entrepreneur. Holy shit, he had 20 businesses in Papua New Guinea. He serviced the whole Solomon Islands he owned a business called Volvo, Volvo Penta, the marine side. Very, very, very wealthy and very, never had a credit card in his life and never had a bank loan. He's hilarious. He's 87 and he was funny. On Friday, he would gather us up and we'd go to the islands. And Friday was the busiest working day of his company and he would stop work. And I never really asked why till I'm 43 now, and it's now I have these conversations with Dad. And I always ask him, and his memory's going and everything, and he said, because if I didn't stop and create what I created with you guys, what's it for? Why do we strive to make the money, to be happy? He said, I want to be happy now. I thought that was beautiful. I thought, what a beautiful operating system. The busiest day, and it used to do my mum's head in. And he would stop and we would pack up and we would go away Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we'd come back Monday and he'd start work Tuesday. And then at those times, he wasn't very well, he wasn't very, things were struggle. The kina was dropping and to the dollar and things were happening and he was importing stuff from Sweden, but I think that's where it comes from. 100% comes from my father, and I think that's quite. I think it's quite interesting that the chef friend that you said is very unhealthy. Chefs have such a disattachment from food, and I mean this with such grace and respect too, because we go to work, we go on the computer, we go online, and I don't care if it's organic, biodynamic or conventional, we go online. That's how we order our food. You know this. And we order our food and we write on the form 1 box of tomatoes, whatever, delivery Monday. Some bloke drops it off. Then it goes into the cool room and us as chefs open the box up and start cutting a tomato. We have no attachment. We have no attachment. And that's the biggest part of what I do with chefs when I'm training them, is bringing them back to not where the food comes from and not the whole miles thing. It's not that. It's more about what does nature require from you? What nature requires us to be rich and abundant so we can have a holiday house and be financially secure? Bullshit. Nature doesn't require that from us. Nature requires us to be mindful. Nature requires us to be consistently mindful, lovingly mindful, strategically mindful in our business. The sign I had up on my cash register, what does your planet require from you? It pissed so many people off. I lost business. From them. It's okay. I gained business from the human beings that walked in that were mindful. And us chefs, we're chefs, and I'm going to categorize myself in the chef realm. And your friend who's so unhealthy, he's probably knocking back litres of Coke. He's probably eating at 11 o'clock at night. I would never serve a person after 8:30 because I don't believe your digestion deserves the punishment. And that was a big rule in my restaurant, massive rule. So I wonder the future of food, the future of business. I wonder where it leaves the most fundamental things. See, you can make all the money you like. Mate, if your cells, it's nutrients that keep us alive. And if your cells aren't fed with, and I'm not talking the organic industry and I'm not talking the biodynamic industry, I'm talking food, just as simple as that. If we're not fed, what are you going to do with all the money? Hey, Johnny.
Hey, Cynthia. That's
my friend John.
It's been stunning, just
observing you.
John
on
used
the
to come
couch
into the
there.
restaurant.
I did 20 years ago. And we only just worked that out, by the way, just
We
recently.
did. Yeah.
I do remember the crazy chef that would come and talk to us at the table and tell us what was in it and what wasn't in it. And could I have garlic with? No. Onion? No. What? Who's this crazy woman?
I don't say no anymore. I say yes and.
Yes, and. It's been extraordinary just watching who you are as a human being and the way you just express yourself tonight. I've got a question around some of those points, those little things, those triggers that happened as you were kind of like growing through this. And one of them that has struck me just recently was that beautiful saying you just talk about, together we are better. And I love that. There's a number of different things that you mentioned about, when I made that connection between the money and the food thing and just the team thing, because this is probably the biggest thing that I've seen in my own life. Whenever I've done really well, it's always been with others. And then when I find myself really struggling, I look around me and I go, oh, it's only me. When did that really sink home for you? Because obviously it's a big thing as well. And obviously then you've observed how that worked. What was something that triggered that? Was it something that happened when you were very early? What was it?
Triggered what?
The whole
Together we're
thing,
better.
You can't do it on your own thing.
Together we are better.
We get that.
It's absolutely ridiculous to think that I could do it on my own. That's ego. I've got a massive ego all on its own. I don't need any more. I don't know. I think growing up in a third world country, you know this, mate. You have staff. You get it. I mean, Roz, you have an amazing opportunity to be the greatest mother you possibly can be because you have this whole thing, together we're better. Yeah, I don't know, I just think maybe it comes from childhood, I don't know. The saying's very new, but the feeling's always been there. Yeah, I think, definitely from childhood and definitely watching my mum, licking stamps on an envelope at 12 o'clock at night, and I can't do this anymore, and then creating a team, and then my dad, wanting to do this and that, and I just remember being around business my whole life. That's all I know is business. But it's not business that makes you happy and wealthy. It's not. Yeah. That's something I've watched. Yeah, many people do. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Does that answer your question?
Last question, and then we'll finish up so you can have a quick chat with some people outside.
A quick follow-up on Together We're Better. Have you ever had to fire anybody?
Yeah, absolutely. Fired my son 3 times. Greatest thing I ever did. Actually, it was my mentor, Chef Baz, that said to me, your son needs a good firing. I went, all right then, you're fired. He goes, what do I do? I said, not much, but you're out of here. Yes, I have in my there was 14 chefs in one of the health retreats. Actually, that's a really cool story, if that's okay if I can tell it.
Absolutely.
I did my apprenticeship and I went into a health retreat and I said to the executive chef, I want to be second in charge. He laughed. In 6 months, I got second in charge. In 3 months of being the second in charge, I said, I want your job. He shit himself. I said, mate, together we're better. People don't operate like that. He got very, very upset. Through that 14 chefs, I could tell energetically. I know as a chef, and this is very normal as a chef. This is not extraordinary. This is very normal for a chef. I can tell when your knife is blunt, and I can tell when you're not cutting properly, and I can tell when you're not fast enough. And as soon as I can see that on the first shift, you're gone. I don't want you in the kitchen. I'm not interested because you're not passionate. A passionate chef comes in 2 hours early, sets up his station, sharpens his knife, stands there ready, does a job that he's not supposed to do. That's what I look for. And when I see that, I can smell it. I can feel it when they walk through the door. And they're the people I employ. And the ones that I fire, I always sit down and ask them, what is your passion? It's actually music. Awesome. How can I help you? That's the first thing I do. And then I fire them. Because you can't just, it's like food, you can't just harvest. You've got to give back. You've got to give back to the soil, you know, you've got to give back. It's a standard thing, and it's the same with a human being. If that answers your question. This is fun.
Thank you so much for giving your time to us. I know I speak for myself, but I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone in this room that you have touched everyone in some way, shape or form with your story and what you do. And, you know, I do hope that you all do take something from this and relate it, you know, for the iLab group, to relate it to your journeys and what you can do. And Together We're Better I love that. Can I steal
and
that?
it's yours, have it. An operating system. Remember, the conditions will never be right.
Yeah,
They will never, ever
Yeah.
be right. You've got to become the right condition.
Is that recorded, Chen? Make sure we get all that.
And it's an operating system. 24/7 controlling your thoughts. 24/7. It's work, I tell you. It's work.
So thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
I
much.
know that everyone would love to probably chat a little bit more with you. So we're not going to keep you forever. Obviously, you've got a life outside of here.
I have a baby at home.
Massive round of applause for Chef.